Greetings, my dear friend. Allow me to share a story that completely changed my perspective on life and the sacred rituals that surround us. My name is Andrew, and I've been living in a monastery in the mountains of Colorado for 20 years, although I was born in a small town in Kansas. I remember as if it were yesterday when I discovered the transformative power of the vinegar ritual. It was an autumn afternoon, and I was going through a particularly challenging moment in my spiritual life. Doubts were consuming me, and my connection with my inner being seemed to be falling apart like dry leaves in the wind. That's when I met Master William, a centenarian monk who rarely left his small cabin at the mountaintop. His eyes, deep as an ocean of wisdom, seemed to penetrate my soul when he received me on that memorable afternoon. The aroma of sandalwood incense filled the space, and a single candle illuminated his serene face. "My young friend," he said with a soft voice that seemed to carry the weight of thousands of years of knowledge, "you seek answers in the wrong place. True wisdom isn't in the sacred books you study so much, but in the simple rituals our ancestors left us." It was then that he revealed to me the secret of the vinegar ritual, a practice that dates back to the times of the Egyptian pharaohs. While preparing a wooden basin with warm water and apple cider vinegar, he began telling me about how the ancient Egyptian priests used this ritual not only for physical purification, but as a bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. "You see," he explained, while his wrinkled hands mixed the solution with precise movements, "vinegar isn't just a product of fermentation. It's a symbol of transformation, of the change that occurs when we allow time and nature to work upon us." That night, under the full moon's light, I performed my first ritual. Sitting in lotus position, with my feet immersed in the vinegar solution, I began to feel something extraordinary. It was as if every pore in my body was awakening to a new consciousness. Master William instructed me to close my eyes and visualize all negative energies, worries, and blockages being dissolved by the vinegar. "Vinegar," he whispered, "is like a magnet for dense energies. Just as it cleans and purifies physical surfaces, it can also clean and purify our energy field." While keeping my feet immersed, I began to understand that this ritual was much more than a simple act of hygiene. It was an ancestral practice that connected the physical body with subtler dimensions of existence. The Master taught me that our feet are our connection points with Earth, and through them we can both absorb and release energies. During that first ritual, I learned that each toe corresponds to different aspects of our life. The big toe, for example, is connected to our life force and purpose. The other toes connect with our emotions, relationships, prosperity, and ancestral wisdom. "When we immerse our feet in vinegar," explained Master William, "we're not just performing a physical act. We're participating in a cosmic dance that our ancestors knew deeply. The ancient Greeks, for instance, used vinegar in purification rituals before entering their sacred temples. As months passed, I transformed this ritual into a daily practice. Each time I immersed my feet in the vinegar solution, I learned something new about myself. I began to notice patterns in my life that I had never noticed before. Emotional blockages I had carried since childhood began to dissolve like salt in hot water. One particularly significant night, while performing the ritual, I had a profound experience of connection with all practitioners who came before me. I saw myself in an Egyptian temple where priests performed the same ritual. I saw myself in ancient Greek houses where wise women used vinegar to cleanse not only the feet, but also the souls of weary travelers. Master William taught me that the vinegar ritual must be accompanied by 3 essential elements: conscious intention, anticipatory gratitude, and creative visualization. When we immerse our feet in vinegar, he would say, we must have a clear intention of what we want to transform in our life. Anticipatory gratitude is like a magnet that attracts the blessings we desire, and creative visualization is the bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. Over time, I began to notice significant changes in my life. My spiritual connections strengthened, my relationships became more harmonious, and even my financial situation began to flow more abundantly. The Master explained that this happened because the vinegar ritual not only cleanses stagnant energies, but also opens channels for new energies to flow. Vinegar, he taught me on a particularly memorable afternoon, is like an energetic reset for our being. Just as a computer sometimes needs to be restarted to work better, our energy field also needs this deep cleansing. One of the most important lessons I learned was about the importance of the present moment during the ritual. It wasn't just about immersing feet in vinegar, but about being completely present during the process. Each sensation, each thought that arises, each emotion that surfaces, everything is part of the transformation process. When you smell the strong aroma of vinegar, the master would say, you're connecting with the air element. When your feet touch the solution, you connect with water and earth. And when your intention rises, you connect with the sacred fire of transformation. It's a ritual that unifies the four elements in a sacred dance of healing. I remember a particular experience that completely changed my understanding of this ritual's power. It was a new moon night, and I was going through a period of profound transformation in my life. Master William called me for a special teaching session. "Today," he said with a special gleam in his eyes, "I will teach you about different types of vinegar and their spiritual meanings." He then laid out 7 different bowls before me, each with a specific type of vinegar. Apple cider vinegar, he explained, carries the energy of abundance and physical healing. Rice vinegar brings the ancestral wisdom of the East and aids in mental clarity. Balsamic vinegar, aged and precious, connects us with our own spiritual maturity. Red wine vinegar carries the energy of deep transformation. Grain alcohol vinegar represents basic purification. Coconut vinegar brings the energy of spiritual protection. And finally, flower vinegar, a rarity preserved by monks for generations, awakens our connection with the divine. Each vinegar, he explained, has its own vibrational frequency. Just as a musician chooses different instruments to create a symphony, we can choose different vinegars to create our own symphony of healing. During that special night, I learned to create specific mixtures for different purposes. For financial matters, for example, a mixture of apple cider vinegar with a few drops of balsamic vinegar. For relationships, flower vinegar with a touch of red wine vinegar. For spiritual protection, coconut vinegar with rice vinegar. The ritual became even deeper when Master William taught me about the importance of complementary herbs. Herbs are the messengers between realms, he would say. When we add rosemary to vinegar, we invoke protection. When we add lavender, we call for peace. Mint brings prosperity and sage cleanses dense energies. A practice that proved particularly powerful was performing the vinegar ritual during lunar cycles. On the new moon, we focused on planting new intentions. During the waxing moon, on expanding and strengthening these intentions. On the full moon, on manifesting and celebrating, and during the waning moon, on releasing and purifying. Vinegar, explained the master, is like the moon itself. It has phases, cycles, moments of greater and lesser potency. Learning to work with these cycles is like learning to dance with the universe itself. One of the deepest revelations came when I understood that the vinegar ritual wasn't just about receiving, but also about giving. I began teaching this practice to other seekers who arrived at the monastery in the Colorado mountains, always emphasizing that the power wasn't in the vinegar itself, but in the intention and consciousness with which the ritual was performed. Over the years, I developed a deeper understanding of how the vinegar ritual connects with the chakras, the energy centers of our body. Master William explained that when we immerse our feet in vinegar, we activate an energy current that starts at the root chakra and gradually rises to the crown chakra. Imagine, he would say, while lighting sandalwood incense in our meditation room, that your feet are like roots of an ancient tree. When these roots are nourished by sacred vinegar, the entire tree benefits. Similarly, when your feet absorb the vinegar's energy, your entire being is elevated. One of the most striking experiences happened during a 21-day silent retreat at our sanctuary in the Rocky Mountains. During this period, I performed the vinegar ritual 3 times a day, at sunrise, noon, and sunset. It was surprising to observe how each time brought a different energy to the ritual. The morning ritual was like a gentle awakening, preparing body and mind for the day's activities. The midday ritual worked as an energetic recalibration, helping maintain balance during the most intense hours. And the evening ritual was like a comforting embrace, helping integrate the day's experiences. During this retreat, Master William taught me a special breathing technique to enhance the ritual's effects. Breathe deeply, he instructed, and imagine that through your feet, you're absorbing the wisdom of all generations that came before you. With each exhalation, release everything that no longer serves your spiritual growth. It was also during this period that I learned about the importance of water temperature used in the ritual. Warm water, explained the master, opens the pores and allows a deeper absorption of the vinegar's properties. But on intensely hot days, cold water can be used for an invigorating and purifying effect. One night, during a particularly deep session, I had a vision that changed my understanding of the ritual. I saw myself connected to a great golden web that extended across the planet, linking all practitioners of this ancestral ritual, past and present. I understood that each time we perform the ritual, we're not only benefiting individually, but contributing to the elevation of collective consciousness. Master William smiled when I shared this vision with him. Now you begin to understand, he said, that the vinegar ritual is a form of active prayer. Each time we immerse our feet in the sacred solution, we're participating in an ancient tradition of healing and transformation that transcends time and space. I also learned about the importance of properly disposing of the solution after the ritual. The used vinegar, explained the master, carries the energies that were released during the ritual. It should be disposed of with respect, preferably at the foot of a tree or plant, accompanied by a prayer of gratitude. One of the deepest lessons I received from Master William was about the connection between the vinegar ritual and nature's cycles. Observe, he told me one spring morning in our mountain sanctuary, how the seasons influence our ritual. In spring, the ritual focused on renewal and awakening new possibilities. The master taught me to add fresh flower petals to the vinegar solution, symbolizing the blossoming of our highest purposes. In summer, we used more intense aromatic herbs like rosemary and basil to strengthen our vital energy. Autumn brought a more introspective aspect to the ritual. This is the time, explained the master, to use vinegar to release old patterns just as trees release their leaves. In winter, the ritual became more contemplative, with the addition of essential oils like cedar and pine, which helped us keep our inner light burning during the darker days. An especially powerful practice I learned was performing the ritual in group. On special occasions, we would gather in a circle in the monastery's sacred hall, each with our own basin of vinegar, and perform the ritual in synchronicity. The energy generated during these sessions was so palpable that sometimes we could see a soft golden luminescence hovering over our feet. The power of collective ritual, taught the master, is like a bonfire. Each practitioner is like firewood that feeds the sacred fire of transformation. Together, we create an energy field that enhances individual and collective healing. It was during one of these group sessions that I had one of the most remarkable experiences of my life. While my feet were immersed in vinegar, I entered a deep state of meditation. In this state, I received a clear vision of how the vinegar ritual was connected to ancient healing traditions from various cultures. I saw healers from ancient China using vinegar in their treatments. I saw Greek priestesses in their healing temples. I saw Native American shamans performing purification rituals with vinegar from sacred plants. All these traditions were connected by an invisible thread of ancestral wisdom. Master William also taught me about the importance of sound during the ritual. Sound, he explained, is a bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. We learned to chant specific mantras during the ritual, each corresponding to different healing intentions. The mantra Om Namah Shivaya was used for deep transformation, Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Swaha for prosperity, and Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha for protection and healing. The vibration of these sacred mantras seemed to dance with the vinegar's energy, creating harmonic patterns we could feel throughout our entire being. As time passed, Master William began revealing subtler aspects of the ritual. Vinegar, he explained one starlit night at our Colorado sanctuary, has its own consciousness. It responds to our intentions, our thoughts, and our emotions. I learned to communicate with the spirit of vinegar before each ritual. It was a silent dialogue, a sacred communion between my consciousness and the ancestral wisdom contained in that transformative liquid. The master taught me that each type of vinegar had its own personality and unique way of working with our energy. When you truly understand the nature of vinegar, he would say, you realize that you're not just performing a cleansing ritual, but participating in a cosmic dance of transformation. One of the most profound practices I learned was the 7 moons ritual, where during 7 consecutive full moons we performed the vinegar ritual with a specific intention for each chakra. We started with the root chakra on the 1st moon, gradually ascending to the crown chakra on the 7th moon. During this period, we kept a detailed journal of our experiences, dreams, and insights. It was fascinating to observe how patterns in our life began to transform according to the chakra we were working with. Vinegar, explained the master, is like a mirror for our consciousness. It reflects back to us what we need to see and transform. On a memorable occasion, while working with the heart chakra, I experienced a profound emotional release during the ritual. Tears flowed freely, while old hurts and resentments dissolved in the sacred solution. The master also taught me about the importance of timing in the ritual. 21 minutes, he said, is the ideal time for vinegar to work on all levels of our being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. During these 21 minutes, we were instructed to keep our attention on 3 different points. In the first 7 minutes, we focused on releasing what no longer served us. In the next 7 minutes, on gratitude for what we already had. And in the final 7 minutes, on visualizing what we wish to manifest. A particularly powerful practice was what the master called the dark moon vinegar. During the new moon, we prepared a special vinegar solution that was exposed to the energy of the moonless night, potentized with specific crystals and sacred herbs. This vinegar was reserved for rituals of deep transformation and spiritual renewal. One of the most transformative experiences happened during a period of intense spiritual retreat in our mountain sanctuary. Master William introduced me to what he called the great ritual of the 4 directions, where vinegar was prepared and energized according to the elements and cardinal directions. In the East, he explained as we prepared the 4 basins, we use rice vinegar with eucalyptus essence, representing the air element and new beginnings. In the South, red wine vinegar with red pepper, symbolizing fire and transformation. In the West, apple cider vinegar with lavender flowers representing water and emotions. And in the North, balsamic vinegar with vetiver root, symbolizing earth and material manifestation. Over 4 consecutive nights, we performed the ritual facing each direction, absorbing the different energetic qualities of each element. It was during this period that I truly understood how the vinegar ritual could be a powerful tool for balancing not only our individual being, but also our connection with nature's forces. The master also taught me about the importance of personal cycles in the ritual. Each person, he would say, has their own rhythms and cycles. The vinegar ritual should be adapted to honor these individual cycles. I learned to observe how my body and spirit responded differently to the ritual at different times of the month and year. There were days when the vinegar seemed more active, others when its energy was softer and more nurturing. A particularly deep practice was what we called the Sacred Dawn Vinegar Ritual. We would begin before sunrise, preparing the solution with water from the first spring rain, which we carefully stored in crystal containers, and vinegar that had been exposed to the full moon's light. This is a magical moment, explained Master William, when the veil between worlds is thinnest and the vinegar's energy can work more deeply in our being. During these morning rituals, many of us experienced profound visions and transformative insights. It was common to feel the presence of ancestral masters and spiritual guides who seemed to assist us during the purification and transformation process. The master also emphasized the importance of preparing the environment for the ritual. The space where we perform the ritual, he said, should be treated as a sacred temple. We learned to purify the environment with Palo Santo incense, arrange crystals at specific points in the space, and create a simple but meaningful altar with natural elements that represented our intention for the ritual. One of the most valuable lessons I received from Master William was about the connection between the vinegar ritual and dreams. The feet, he explained, are like antennas that connect our conscious being with the dream realm. When we perform the ritual before sleep, we open portals to deeper and more meaningful dreams. We then began keeping a vinegar dream journal, where we recorded the dream experiences that emerged after evening rituals. It was fascinating to observe how the symbols and messages in our dreams became clearer and more meaningful. Vinegar, said the master, acts as a conductor between the material world and the dream world. It cleanses not only our physical feet, but also our etheric feet, those that walk through subtle realms during sleep. It was during this period that I learned about the ancestral vinegar, a special preparation that involved fermenting specific fruits harvested during the full moon, combined with sacred herbs and programmed crystals. This vinegar was especially used for rituals of connecting with ancestral wisdom and intergenerational healing. One particularly memorable night, during a ritual with the ancestral vinegar in our Rocky Mountain sanctuary, I experienced a profound vision where I could see the lineage of masters and practitioners who had preserved this knowledge through the centuries. I saw how each generation had added their own understanding and wisdom to the ritual, enriching it with their unique experiences. The master also taught me about the importance of what he called the sacred silence moment after the ritual. After removing your feet from the solution, he explained, remain in complete silence for a few minutes. It's in this moment that the deepest transformations happen. During these moments of silence, many of us experienced extraordinary sensations. Some reported seeing vibrant colors, even with closed eyes. Others felt waves of energy rising from their feet to the crown of their head, and some even heard subtle sounds that seemed to come from higher dimensions. Vinegar, taught the master, is like a conductor orchestrating our vital energy. Each type of vinegar plays a different note in our inner symphony. I also learned about the importance of gratitude in the ritual. Before each session, we offered thanks to the plants that had transformed into vinegar, to the elements of nature participating in the process, and to all masters and practitioners who had preserved this knowledge through the ages. Over the years, Master William began revealing even deeper aspects of the ritual, including what he called the dance of vinegar with the 5 senses. This practice involved an expanded awareness of how the ritual interacted with each of our senses. Observe, he would say, how the vinegar's aroma changes during the ritual. At first, it may seem strong and penetrating, but as our consciousness expands, we begin to perceive subtler and higher notes. It was true. Over time, I learned to distinguish different layers of fragrance, each carrying its own message and teaching. The visual aspect of the ritual also gained new depth. Look at the vinegar's surface, the master would instruct, and observe the patterns forming in the water. They are like sacred hieroglyphs, telling the story of our transformation. Touch, naturally, was one of the most important aspects. The sensation of vinegar on our feet was like a silent dialogue between our being and nature's forces. Some days we felt gentle tingling, on others waves of heat or cold that seemed to carry specific messages for our spiritual journey. Even sound had its role in the ritual. Listen, the master would say, to the subtle sound of vinegar interacting with water. It's like an ancient music, a healing song that our ancestors knew well. The 5th sense, taste, was honored not by drinking the ritual vinegar, but through the practice of mindfully preparing and consuming fermented foods at other times of the day, establishing a deeper connection with the transformation process that vinegar represents. One of the most powerful practices I learned was the 3 moons ritual, where we prepared 3 different types of vinegar during 3 complete lunar cycles. Each vinegar was exposed to moonlight in specific phases and programmed with particular intentions. The first vinegar, explained Master William, is for cleansing the past. The second is for strengthening the present. And the third is for seeding the future. During this period, we maintained a special fast and a rigorous meditation discipline. The master taught us that the ritual's power wasn't just in the vinegar itself, but in the expanded consciousness we developed through this dedicated practice. Each drop of vinegar, he would say, contains the potential for complete transformation. But it's our consciousness that activates this potential. On an especially significant night, Master William called me to share what he called the final secrets of sacred vinegar. Sitting under a starlit sky at our Colorado sanctuary, he began revealing aspects of the ritual that he had kept until I was truly ready to receive them. Vinegar, he said with a special gleam in his eyes, isn't just an element of transformation. It's a portal to higher dimensions of consciousness. When performed with total presence and dedication, The ritual can take us to states of consciousness that ancient mystics described in their sacred texts. It was then that he taught me the golden vinegar ritual, a practice that was only transmitted orally from master to disciple. This special ritual involved preparing a unique vinegar made with wild bee honey, rare mountain flowers, and water from sacred springs. This vinegar, he explained, must be prepared during a solar eclipse and matured for 108 days in a crystal vessel buried in a sacred location. The process was complex and required absolute dedication, but the results were extraordinary. During my first experience with the golden vinegar, I had one of the most profound experiences of my life. While my feet were immersed in the solution, I felt as if every cell in my body was transforming into light. Visions of ancient civilizations passed before my eyes, and I could feel a direct connection to universal wisdom. The master also taught me about what he called the vinegar code, a symbolic language that could be observed in the patterns forming on the liquid surface during the ritual. Each pattern, he explained, is a message from the universe, a guide for our spiritual journey. I learned to recognize these patterns and their meanings. Spirals indicated deep transformation, concentric circles suggested consciousness expansion, straight lines pointed to new paths to be followed. The true power of the ritual, the master emphasized, isn't just in the physical practice, but in understanding that we are part of a great web of consciousness. Vinegar is merely a conductor for this realization. One of the last lessons I received was about the importance of transmitting this knowledge appropriately. This ritual, said the master, must be shared with those who are truly ready to receive it. It's not just a wellness practice, but a sacred path of transformation. Today, after 2 decades of practice and deep study of the vinegar ritual in our Rocky Mountain sanctuary, I understand that my journey was just the beginning of something much greater. Master William, in his final days with us, shared an ancient prophecy about how this knowledge would be especially important for the times we're living in now. The vinegar ritual, he said in our last conversation, is a transformation tool that was preserved through millennia for this specific moment in human history. In times of great planetary changes, we need practices that help us maintain our balance and connection with ancestral wisdom. Now, as a guardian of this sacred knowledge, I dedicate my life to sharing these practices with those who feel the inner call to this form of transformation. I see how the ritual has helped people from different cultures and backgrounds find their center and inner truth. The most fascinating thing is observing how each person develops a unique relationship with the ritual. Some find physical healing, others emotional transformation, and some experience profound spiritual insights. Vinegar, in its ancient wisdom, seems to know exactly what each person needs in their current moment. As Master William always said, vinegar is a patient teacher. It works at the perfect rhythm for each soul, neither faster nor slower than necessary. As I write these words, sitting in my small cabin in the Colorado Rockies, with my feet immersed in a vinegar solution prepared under the full moon's light, I feel deep gratitude for all the masters and practitioners who preserved this knowledge through time. And so I conclude this story with the words that Master William used to end our sessions. May the transformative power of sacred vinegar continue to illuminate the path of those who seek inner truth, and may this ancient practice continue to serve as a bridge between heaven and earth, between past and future, between the visible and the invisible, in peace and gratitude.